Spirit 92.9 welcomes you to The Lunch Break with your friends Josh, Jess, and Rachel. Join us as we chat about life, food, faith, and everything in between.
Hello, and welcome to the first episode of The Lunch Break. Yay! I'm Rachel. I'm joined by Josh and Jess. And this is just a time where we wanted to talk about life. We're going to talk about food a little bit because we found out we have the best conversations while we're at the lunch table. And today we're going to be talking about friendships. Before we get to that, though, what's in your lunchbox? What'd you bring for lunch today, Jess?
I had made some lasagna.
Ooh.
I do that about once a month. And when I make lasagna, I make like 4 or 5 lasagnas at a time. And
Nice.
I give them to other people. I keep one for us and then give some to other people. And so lasagna for days, but it's even better. It's even better leftover, right? So good.
Josh, what about you?
My lunch, okay, so it's already gone, but I made this. I made my mom's homemade bread recipe,
Oh.
and so there were some sandwiches involved.
Nice.
And it's so easy too. It's like 5 ingredients, and I'm somewhat incompetent in the kitchen, so it's nice to have something that is difficult to mess up.
Nice. So for me, I made buffalo chicken sweet potato boats.
Oh, wow.
So
That's so fancy.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay, Rachel, you just wanted to be
know.
last so you could one up all of us.
No, that's not. I mean, if you want to call me a chef, sure. That's fine. But yeah, it's not that complicated though. Super easy, and it lasts you for a while, and it's delicious. So yeah, and you can find recipes for everything that we just mentioned. It's going to be on our website, spirit929.com.
Yeah, in the recipe box,
Yeah.
right? Well, today our conversation for this first episode is going to be about friendship. We were having a conversation recently about being in different stages of life and how that affects friendship, current friendships, old friendships, finding new friendships, and we're all just in different places, so we want to navigate that a little bit, and hopefully you will find yourself able to see yourself in one of those seasons as well, and maybe just get some advice and encouragement as well wherever you're at.
Yeah. So Jess, do you want to kick it off? Tell us about where you're at in life and how friendships look for you right now.
Pick on the oldest one first, right? Well, I am the oldest one in the room here, and so I'm in my mid-40s. I've got 3 grown kids and a 6-year-old who was a happy little surprise later on in life. And so it's kind of an awkward place to be in when it comes to finding friendships. I had a long-term friendship that ended in a very difficult betrayal. And so that has caused it to be even harder because to trust people is very difficult. And then just finding friends, when a lot of people have established friendships in my age range, and a lot of people also don't have little kids anymore at my age, and so it's really been kind of a challenge, but God has definitely answered my prayers when I prayed for some new and genuine friendships. I had asked him specifically for those and what those would look like, and he brought some wonderful friends into my life, and so it's good, but it's definitely a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Rachel?
Well, for me, I am the youngest in the room. But so I was born and raised in Ohio, had friends that I grew up with and have been around for most of my life. And then I lived in Florida for the past 3 years, and moving and doing that whole transition, you're starting over as far as friendships go. And so it took me about 2 of those 3 years to find community and find people. And then I started all over again by moving here to Minnesota. And so I'm in this kind of process right now where I'm putting myself out there, which is really hard. And, being brave and finding new people. And so in the middle of starting over again and finding those new friendships and finding community. Josh? You?
Yeah, for me, it is interesting because we're each a different generation and we're each in a different stage, even though there's similarities with all of us. But for me, I moved here to St. Cloud 11 years ago when I was in my early 20s, and now I'm 34. And so I've had friends that I've now been friends with here for over a decade. But it's interesting because those relationships change a little bit, because when you're in your young 20s, you're just getting out of college, you're kind of establishing yourself in the workplace. And like I had a big group of friends that I'd hang out with pretty much every weekend, and all of us were pretty much single at that point. There wasn't really too many that were married. And now a lot of my friends are married and they have little kids. And so there's just kind of a different dynamic because, of course, their spouses come first and their kids come first, as it should be, but that does change the dynamic of the friendship a little bit. And so navigating that is part of the season I'm in right now. And then also creating new friendships, because it is cool how you continually find new community wherever you go.
Yeah. It's hard, but then it's so rewarding. But I think we're all agreeing that you have to really put yourself out there. You have to say yes to things. You have to go to things where people are that might be potential friends. And that's hard. But when you do that, that's where you make those connections and hopefully find your community.
Yeah. Like I know for Jess, both you and I have had that putting ourselves out there type of thing that we're going through. And there's Bible studies that I've been going to, and I've just gotten really good at saying yes, even when sometimes I want to say no, like there were so many points when I first moved here. It's like, oh, this is hard. Meeting new people, it can be scary because it's like you can either be, and especially when people have their own formed friend groups, like you're like the outsider, like, hi, I'm the new kid. Please let me into your club. But being, that new person and being bold enough to say yes to things when people invite you to stuff, to go and do things where you don't know anybody. It can be hard, but it can also be very, very worthwhile.
Yeah. And I learned too, like, that's true no matter what stage you're at, is that you have to say yes, because especially if you're praying and you're asking God to bring those people into your life, it's not like 9 times out of 10, they're not going to knock on your door and be like, hi, I'm here to be your friend.
If it
Shut
works
that door! Stranger danger!
If it works that way,
And honestly, if you ring my doorbell, I'll probably hide and not answer it.
Same.
But, it was like, for me, I was invited to a day retreat at a very new church. I hardly knew very many people there, and I wanted to turn around so many times. I said yes, and I went, and God, blessed me with a tribe of friends at that. If I would have said no, I don't know, I might still be praying, and he'd be like, yeah, I tried to answer that, and you said no. You know what I mean? So you have to look for those opportunities and put yourself out there a little bit, right, Josh?
You do. And Jess, can you just share the name of your friend group? Because this is so cool, and like the story behind it.
Oh, well, yeah, because
you have a name? That's so cute.
I had been praying. I had seen somebody post on social media that they were hanging out with their tribe, and I was like, I want a tribe. And so when I went to that one-day retreat that day, they said, welcome. We are the elephant tribe, and you are now a part of the tribe. And I was like, wait, what? And then they went on to explain like how elephants, especially female elephants, will, gather around if one is wounded or having a baby or whatever, and they'll protect each other and they'll kick up dirt and, they'll support each other and help each other out in the healing process and all of that. And so that's really what the tribe was all about, was just surrounding each other as women and supporting each other through the good and the bad. And I was like, okay, God, not only did you specifically answer the prayer by giving me a tribe, but especially one who focused on helping those who were hurting, which is where I was at that time. So he answered that prayer very creatively and beautifully.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Precious.
Yeah.
Elephant tribe. And that's what we all want, right? We all want a tribe of people who are going to have our backs, and we can have their backs. But like you two have both been saying, it really takes intentionality. And for me, I was really blessed when I came to St. Cloud to be welcomed in right away by this group of friends that I mentioned earlier. I did have to say yes to going to an event, but it was kind of like one event, and all of a sudden, oh, I'm getting invited to stuff. And so that was a testament to my friends, just how welcoming they were. But I have had situations as well where I've had to put myself out there, and it's hard. It's so scary. I went to an event last year where I didn't know anybody. and I was trying to make some new connections, and I didn't know anybody, and it feels so awkward to be the brand new person, and you're like, okay, who do I talk to? Do
Who looks nice?
Do I go introduce myself to that person? And so I know what that feels like, and it is hard, but it always gets better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. And I was blessed. One of the things that I prayed for when I got here, like Jess had mentioned, just praying for those people, praying for that future friend group, that community. And I remember praying and praying and praying. I did when I was in Florida too. And Jasmine, who works with us here at Spirit, just like we clicked immediately. And you'll have people like that.
Mm-hmm.
Those people that just automatically are like, oh yeah, we're going to be hanging out.
You're my person.
Yeah, exactly. But, and so for her, she, you know, had her already established friend group, but she was inviting me to like certain things and making me involved and stuff. And now I've kind of been molded into a part of that group. But yeah, it's a testament to how welcoming they have been. And also a lot of the friendships I've made in 8 months that I've been here, have been me taking that first step and jumping out into the water.
I love that, Rachel. And it's such a reminder to the rest of us too, like, be willing to open up your friend group, your circle, and let other people in, because you've been the person on the outside, you know. And so next time you see someone who's kind of that person, open your group and let them in. Don't be so exclusive and closed off.
Yeah.
Oh, Jess, you got to stop saying that.
A little conviction is happening right now.
It is such a good reminder, though, because, I've been there, but then I know how easy it is for me to just stay with my people. Like, these are the people I know, these are the people I like, and I'm just going to talk to them. Well, there's other people who are feeling like outsiders, whether it's at church or it could be at work, it could be at any number of different events. And it's like, you got to look for those outsiders.
Yeah.
And so, Jess, that's a good reminder to me that I need to look for those people and be as welcoming to them as my friends have been to me over the years.
And it's hard because I don't know about you guys, but like, I'm more comfortable in a smaller group. Like if I have 3 or 4, you know, and that's a lot, good friends, you know, that I can trust, like I'm good. I don't know if I have capacity for more than that, but the truth is I want to be as, you know, welcoming and open-armed as people were that welcomed me in as well. And so that's just something we have to challenge in ourselves too, to get outside of our comfort zone so that others can feel that welcome and that friendship.
Yeah. Not to change the topic a little bit here, but the other thing that, as far as friendships go, that I've been navigating is long distance friendships of like, you know, my friends. I have friends in Ohio, I have friends in Florida, I have so many friends all over the country, and sometimes I like scratch my head and I'm like, how in the world do I like stay intentional with all of these people and, you know, have that strong friendship even though we have that distance between us. And luckily, technology has made it pretty easy to be able to do that. And
we're all used to Zoom relationships now, right?
Zoom,
No.
FaceTime.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I've used Zoom. I've used FaceTime.
Yeah.
I literally tonight have a scheduled call with my friend because I'm like, we are talking this week. It's happening. But yeah, just figuring out, you know, navigating that of like, when in your schedule can we work this out so that we can, you know, be intentional with one another.
I love your creativity in that too, because you've told me like you have favorite shows or whatever, and you'll schedule times where you're watching a new episode of that favorite show, but you're like watching it together on Zoom, so you can talk about it or whatever. And I'm like, wow, that is so crazy.
It takes a lot of planning.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, but that's a good point. Some people are navigating friendships like that. Well, now it's time to do something fun. We're going to open up the lunchbox.
Yes.
And it just so happens to be full of questions regarding friendships.
We didn't show off our lunchboxes.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna
Each
do
of
that.
us has a lunchbox that we bring to the lunch break. So I'll start out with Josh because Josh has
His is the best.
kind of the coolest ever. He's carrying it on his shoulder. Boombox on his shoulder.
Yes, it is a lunchbox boombox. This is so cool. It's like you can kind of hear it here. It's one of these old metal ones. And well, it's not old, but
a new old one.
A new old one.
It's vintage.
And it actually looks like a legit boombox. And I'm like, this is perfect.
Very on brand.
Very on brand. And so
He found it first. I wanted it too.
I got that lunchbox.
Yeah.
So Jess,
Yeah, so then after I was like, well, he got the cool one. I just ended up getting kind of a mom lunchbox.
it's cute.
It's just
so
flowers and greenery, and it's just kind of more pretty and practical, but it works.
Hey,
for
we
me.
love practicality.
That's right. That's right.
And then mine is very me. So it's pink and has strawberries all over it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like textured corduroy. It's cute and fun.
Rachel,
if you don't know
what's your favorite
Rachel-
color?
Yeah.
No, I have no idea. It's pink.
Rachel has a pink shirt on, a
Yeah.
pink laptop, or a pink
My
iPad,
iPad, my
a
pink water
cup,
bottle.
her pink lunchbox. Oh my goodness, it's like
everything.
Very on brand.
Yeah.
yes, very on brand.
Thank you.
All right, so Josh's lunchbox now is full of some questions. We don't know which question's going to come out of the
Ooh.
box, but we're all going to try to answer it. So Josh,
these are all related to our topic of the day. They're all related to friendship.
feel
And
like I need to do
so
a drum
I'm
roll.
gonna pull one out of these at random, and we're gonna talk about it. Questions from the lunchbox. Question number 1 is: how do you find new friends when many friend groups are already established?
Oh,
So we
touched
kind
on
of
that.
touched
Kinda
on
talked
this
about
a
that.
little bit, but let's talk about it a little more.
well.
Yeah, Rachel,
I've been dealing with this.
This has been very real for you
Yes.
lately.
Yeah, and I think it's hard. That's point number 1 is it's really hard because they know each other so well already, and you're the new person coming in, and they're figuring out like, who are you? How would you fit into the group? That type of thing. But for me, it's honestly just being bold and being like, hey, let's go get coffee sometime, or let's go shopping together or something. And it's in those situations, or even finding where you have common ground, like the things like common interests that like you and another member of the group have, doing those things together and, committing to being bold. Those are the ways that I've been figuring that out. Any more tips would be great.
Yeah. Well, and like we were talking about earlier, this is really a reminder to me to just be welcoming people. And it makes me think, though, of a time in my life when I had a friend from one friend group, and then I had this other friend group. And my friend from the one friend group came and hung out with all of us in the other friend group. And he told me, like, it felt cliquey.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know that it didn't always feel like that to us who were, quote unquote, on the inside. But from an outsider's perspective, that can totally happen. It's really easy just to get in our silos and get in our cliques. So as we touched on earlier, we got to be welcoming to new people and just make sure that they feel like they are part of the group.
Yeah, for sure. Jess, any
Yeah.
tips, tricks?
Yeah, I mean, my mind goes right where Josh is, because I think about when I came into this tribe or friendship group. I knew one person kind of, and really not hardly anybody else, and they had established a relationship already, and I was like, how do I fit into this? But it was because they were so welcoming, and they didn't sit there and share inside jokes and only talk about things they knew about. They were opening the conversation up and asking me questions and stuff like that, and made me feel comfortable, like I wasn't the outsider. And then, like Josh said, it's just such a reminder, too, because sometimes the best part about hanging out with your friends is talking about the inside stuff, right?
Yeah.
But if someone new is there, just to kind of take your focus off of that and put it on them, so they feel included in the conversation.
And pretty soon you'll have inside jokes with
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
as well.
It happens.
Things to look forward
Love
to.
inside jokes. Love to be a part of one someday. Okay. We've got another question from the lunchbox. You ready for question number 2?
We're ready.
Drawn at random. Ooh, this is a good one. Is it okay to limit the number of close friends versus acquaintances you have? Jess, I want to hear your thoughts
Yeah.
on this one first.
You immediately are like,
I know. I kind of touched on that before, though. I feel like maybe it's my age or stage of life. Like I don't have the capacity or brain power or time for like lots and lots of close friends. And I don't know quite how to navigate that, because that's my comfort zone, but then I don't want people to feel like, sorry, I don't have time for you. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a weird place. But I think, I found my people, like my few people that whatever's going on, I'm texting them or they're checking in on me or whatever. And then I can still be intentional about, reaching out and connecting with other people as well. And so I'm kind of right in the middle of this struggle right now, though, I feel like, because I've got some people, who want to spend time or whatever. And just the reality of my life right now as a single mom with a 6-year-old who works full time and everything like that, I also have to respect my capacity and ability to do that. So it's hard though, because I don't like ever having to say no or whatever. So yeah, it's been a little bit of a struggle, but I think it's okay. It's just figuring out how to navigate that with other people.
I agree with that. Yeah. Here's the thing. We're not God. We do not have the capacity to have close relationships with every single person. And that doesn't mean we're not respectful. It doesn't mean we're not nice, but we don't have the time. We don't have the energy. We don't have the capacity to be close friends with everybody. Because if you're really being close with somebody, you got to be telling them stuff about your life, and you got to be letting them tell you about their life as well, and praying for them, and just being in it. And we can't handle everybody's burdens. And I don't think God meant for us to. He wants us to bear each other's burdens, but not everybody. Yeah. So I would say 100% it's okay to limit the amount of truly close friends you have.
And I think it's also like those close friends that you have, Josh, and you have, Jess, and for me as well, they have proven to be true friends. Like there's a level of trust that you have between them, and like maybe it's a number of years that you've known them. Like, for example, my best friend, I've been friends with her since like 7th grade. So it's like we have seen each other through so many different stages of life.
Yeah.
And we have stayed with each other through those different stages of life. And so I know she gets me, I get her. So she's my best friend.
Yeah.
And then, you have these new friendships that I'm, navigating and just starting and all of that. And I would love for them to get to that point, right? But that takes effort, and it takes work, and it takes intentionality. And so I'm definitely of the belief that, yes, have your close people. Have those people that just get you and understand you. And, when you have those new friendships, or maybe they're acquaintances or whatever it is, always be intentional and be, striving towards being closer to them. But it's not bad to have your chosen few.
Yeah.
All right, ready for the next question.
Let's go.
There's the drum roll. We are pulling the question out of the boombox lunchbox. And this one is, and we again, we've kind of touched on this, but how do you deepen a friendship and go from acquaintances to close friends? Rachel, that's kind of literally what you were just talking about. But maybe what are some other practical ways? And Rachel, why don't you start out on this one? Some practical ways that maybe you've seen in your friendships that have deepened them.
Yeah. I think for me, a lot of it is, it's going to sound really weird and kind of like high school, college, but sleepover.
Okay.
I'm not doing that at my age.
like just thinking of, being at this stage in life, and some of the friends that I have made, we have, or even just like going to dinner together or going to coffee, something that's like a relaxed atmosphere, not something like, ooh, we're going to a concert and we're not going to be able to talk to each other the entire time. Like something where you're sitting down across from each other in a comfortable environment where both of you feel comfortable. And that's, I feel like for me, that's where those real conversations start to happen. And, you're talking about your life and things that you've, gone through or had to navigate. And a lot of that has happened at sleepovers or like late night talks, that type of thing.
Bonfires. Bonfires are good for that.
Bonfires, just any place where it's a relaxed, comfy atmosphere. That has been where I've had acquaintances and they have turned into lifelong friends.
Yeah. I agree. It's those when you have the opportunity to go deeper, right, in your conversation. And I joke that I'm not having a sleepover, but I've done like weekend retreats with
See,
some
it's
of these
kind
new
of a
friends.
sleepover.
It's a sleepover. You know, where there's not a lot of distractions, aka little kids, and love them, but you know, we get into deep conversations, and then you're sharing like the real you and the struggles that you have and the things that you've been through, and they're sharing those things about themselves, and all of a sudden you connect so much deeper because you're being real and you know, talking about the things that are hard for you or that are hard for them, and then that's where you really rise up to support each other, and that deepens your friendship.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's really that vulnerability, right?
Yeah.
Which is hard and it's intimidating. And I'm not the type of person that's naturally like, oh yeah, I just want to spill all my deepest, darkest secrets to everybody. And so it's hard for me. But what I found, I think the older I've gotten, is that when I am vulnerable with people and I do start to talk about some of these things, first, I find I'm not as alone as I thought I was.
Yeah.
And second, like that deepens the friendship. And so it really is that vulnerability. And I think there's a lot of ways you can get there. For me, one of the things was I was training for a half marathon with one of my friends, and we became better friends during that because, for one thing, you're suffering together. That always brings you closer together. But yeah, then also just being able to have some of those conversations and to get real about stuff and to share my struggles. And that helps. So yeah, a lot of practical ways you can get there, but I think the key really is vulnerability.
Yeah, for sure.
Agreed.
Well, should we do one more?
I think we have time for one more quick question from the lunchbox. Okay. Last one of the day. Do you have a lot of friends who are 10 plus years older than you or 10 plus years younger than you? And this is interesting because, again, we are all from different generations. Rachel, you're 26,
26,
right? 26.
yeah.
I'm 34. Jess is
40-something, yeah.
40-something.
She's 39.
In the middle there, yeah.
Okay, well, I'll start with this one. So I do have friends at various age ranges, and probably most of them are I guess, roughly my age, But when I think about it, I have friends who are in their 40s, who are in their 50s. I have friends who are in their 20s. I hang out with college students still sometimes. So I guess I do have friends sort of all across the spectrum. So I would say, yeah, I do have quite a few friends who are not my exact age range and who are either 10 plus years younger or 10 plus years older.
Do you recommend that? What do you feel like it does for you, like as a person, to have such a variety of ages as friends?
Oh yeah, I do recommend that because you see people at different stages of life and you can gain wisdom from everybody. Right. And it's kind of fun. Like my parents are in Wisconsin, but it's kind of fun because I have a lady that goes to my gym in my church and I call her mom. So it's fun to have people who are at different ages and who can just provide you with different things that are helpful for you, regardless of age.
Yeah, I've always kind of been an old soul. So even when I was like Rachel's age, most of my friends were older, but I also had kids young. I was married and everything. And so I would kind of just lean towards those older women who had so much wisdom or help or whatever it is. And even now, I think the bulk of my friendships are like my age and older.
Sure.
And especially my close friends are a little bit older. But I love that because they're so wise and they offer so much support and help. And I wish I had more friends that were younger. See, I have kids that are Rachel's age too. And so I don't know. I feel like I just naturally fall into mom mode a little bit. And I don't know if that's good or bad. Rachel could probably answer that.
I don't think it's bad.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose that's how the older women are with me, right? I mean, they're kind of mothering or whatever. And so it's interesting now to have relationships with people in their 20s that I take on kind of the mom role there. So, yeah, but it's good.
Yeah, for me, definitely back in my hometown for sure. Because, I had grown up with being around college students all the time because my parents are professors. So from a very young age was around people that were older than me.
Sure.
And so was just very used to carrying an adult conversation from a young age. So I guess, I do have a lot that are older than me. But it's definitely like, I appreciate it because I do have a lot of friends that are my age, and it's like, yes, you need that, and you need people who are going through the same things that you're going through that understand you and get you, but you also need the outside perspective, so you're not just in just this, I feel this and I feel this. Yes, we feel the same way, and that's how it is. It's like you need someone else that's on the outside to give you a different perspective, to give you wisdom. And so to have people who have lived life longer than you and have experienced things that you haven't yet, to have that is incredibly important. So, yes. Yeah.
Any final words of wisdom when it comes to navigating friendships, Josh?
I think just like we've been saying, it's intentionality. You got to put yourself out there. You got to be intentional. And for the friends you already have, you got to be intentional with them too, because it's very easy to let relationships and friendships slip by the wayside. So just send that text, make that phone call, go to that event, and you'll be glad you did.
Awesome. Yeah. All right.
Well,
this has been fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us for the first episode of The Lunch Break. The recipes that we mentioned earlier of what we brought for lunch today, those are going to be on our website, spirit929.com. So check those out. And you can listen to future episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. We also have a video version that's going to be on the Spirit 92.9 not Facebook, YouTube channel. So make sure that you check that out. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great day.
See you next time.